Hello and welcome to Know Your Representative, the program that bridges the visible gap between lawmakers and their constituents. I am Maria Olashende. Today on the show, we'll take you through the first annual Legislative Summit on Renewable Energy organized by NILDS, and that's the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. So why don't you sit, relax, and enjoy the program? We'll take a short break. I'll be back soon. Stay with us. The Director General of NILDS, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Suleiman, has called for prioritization of renewable energy and empowerment of state and local governments to set up their legal frameworks and invest directly in renewable energy. Professor Suleiman made this known at the opening of the maiden Legislative Summit on Renewable Energy in Nigeria, organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS in Abuja.
We hope that this summit will be an opportunity for all of us here present to look into the opportunities for relevant stakeholders to acquaint ourselves with the opportunities and challenges in the renewable energy sector. It is also expected that these summits will serve as a platform for the harvest and defining of evidence-based concepts and principles for improving the key legal and institutional framework on renewable energy in Nigeria. Indeed, the General National Assembly has set the path for this movement through the enactment of the 5th Constitutional Alteration, which has improved the autonomy of state House of Assembly on the issue of electricity and the enactment of the Electricity Act 2023. The Electricity Act 2023 extended this movement through its call for a privatization of renewable energy and empowerment of state and local governments to set up their own legal framework and even invest directly in renewable energy. In essence, these two laws democratize and decentralize the legal framework for electricity in our country. But the most important outcome relevant to our discussion here today is the opening up of the legal and institutional doors of opportunity for the promotion of renewable energy in Nigeria. We can only achieve these objectives with collaborations of key stakeholders, like the legislature, both national and state, the executive, and indeed the private sectors. Our duty in this institute is to facilitate these engagements, provide research and capacity building platform, and help provide the discussion with evidence-based policy analysis, legal briefs, and research-informed legislative and policy recommendations. Also, with the presence of other industry stakeholders like the private sector here today, come an opportunity of collating and enlightening practitioner perspective in effective and efficient deployment of policy towards achieving national development. This is particularly important because our laws must be seen to be working for providers and consumers of electricity. The mandate of National Assembly does not end with lawmaking. It continues with activities like legislative oversight, post-legislative scrutiny, and public or investigative hearing to continually assess the functionality of law powers. This is to say that the Institute, in compliance with the statutory mandate, therefore, must provide the legislature with the necessary support services that will assist it in the legislative process. This is the key objective of today's engagement. The Electricity Act has been passed. The 5th alteration has also been passed. But how are these all fair in implementation? Is there an understanding of the impacts on renewable energy? These are the probing questions that need to be addressed at these summits, with a view to finding durable solution on the way forward. Distinguished gentlemen and ladies, we should recall that following the passage of the 5th Constitution Authorization Act and the Electricity Act 2023, our institutes commence an engagement to initiate this legislative summit on renewable energy. This, we believe, is the only way out, considering the quantum of money and funding expended on power and electricity in the last 20 years. This summit, therefore, is important because the two neighbors have made the transition to renewable energy in Nigeria more feasible and easier, both at the national and state level. A major significance of the 5th Convention is the removal of the restrictions on the control and regulation of electricity in states to only areas not covered by national regulation. States can now regulate electricity generation and distribution within their domain. This means that renewable and fossil energy sources can coexist in states. These, however, raises some fundamental issues that need to be resolved by acts of the National Assembly.
Meanwhile, the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has tasked stakeholders in the energy sector to work towards accessible and affordable renewable energy for Nigerians in the near future. Represented by Senator Jarigbe Agom, the chairman Senate Committee on Gas, Akpabio said that Nigeria could be a force to reckon with in the renewable energy with little more efforts.
I want to express my deepest gratitude to the National Institute for Legislative Studies and Democratic Studies and Solar Systems Nigeria Limited for organizing this remarkable event. We are indeed indebted to them. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment in history where the decisions we make today will shape the future of our nation and the world we leave behind for our posterity. The recent passage of the Electricity Act 2023 and the Constitution Alteration Act 2023 have provided us with an unprecedented opportunity to harness the potentials of renewable energy and revolutionize the way we power this blessed nation. Renewable energy is not just a passing trend or an optional part. It is the future, and it holds the key to sustainable development, economic growth, and a cleaner, healthier planet. By fully exploiting the legal and institutional framework, we can increase access to energy for all Nigerian citizens and industries, while reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and mitigating the impact of climate change. But we cannot achieve this vision alone. It requires the collective effort of all stakeholders from the public and private sectors to come together and drive the necessary innovations and advancements in the renewable energy sector. It is through regular engagement, collaboration, and the exchange of ideas that we can unlock the full potentials of renewable energy in Nigeria. The summit serves as a platform for exactly that. It is a space for us to not only acquaint ourselves with the latest developments and opportunities in the global renewable energy scene, but also to interrogate and update our domestic legal and institutional framework. Together, we can champion the necessary reforms, policies, and investments that will usher in a new era of energy sustainability and prosperity of our great nation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your presence here today carries immense weight and significance. Your commitment and dedication to the progress of our nation have inspired us all. I urge you to seize this moment to bring insights that will ignite passion and commitment in each and every one of us, Remember that your words have the power to shape minds, inspire actions, and pave the way for a brighter, more sustainable future.
Also speaking, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas decried the inadequate electricity supply, cost of electricity, and the effects of electricity powered by fossil fuel on the environment. Represented by the Chairman House Committee on Renewable Energy, Rep. Victor Afam Abbas said that Nigeria had infinite sources of alternative electricity that were unharnessed. He said that full adoption of renewable energy would ensure instant electricity supply, stimulate economic activities in rural areas, create jobs, reduce cost of electricity and carbon emission.
We could also pause and think about the immense benefits derivable from recourse to renewable energy. Quick access to electricity is one, because when you go and install, at least they have some form of electricity that powers little gadgets, fan, television, charge phones, while waiting for mini grids to come to such communities. It also immediately stimulates economic activities. The small and medium businesses around our local governments can get up and running if we actually make renewable energy sources easily affordable to them. It also creates jobs in the sector for people who go to do these installations. It reduces energy costs, and it also attracts direct foreign investment in the sector. The distinguished senator has talked about tax rebates and all whatnot associated with investment in the renewable energy sector. But perhaps more importantly, we can be sure of low carbon emissions and general protection of our environment. So quite early in the life of the 10th House of Representatives, ably led by the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, he set up a standing committee on renewable energy that shows the foresight and the interest to go where the heart of Nigerians are. And that is why it's dubbed the People's House. The 10th House actually takes the issue of renewable energy quite seriously. And so there is a standing committee of the House on renewable energy, which I am privileged to lead. This brings us to this first annual legislative summit. Like has also been pointed out, it is not to make laws and leave it at that. These laws also need to be looked at. These laws also need to be worked upon to ensure its workability. And so we'll be quite interested in the outcomes emanating from this legislative summit, and to urge that it should not be a one-off thing. Working, thank God, the National Institute is a part of the National Assembly, so I'm sure that the synergy going forward will be stronger, but we eagerly await the outcomes so that if we need to tweak some parts of the law, make it stronger to attract more investments in the sector, we are sure willing partners. So I bring you warm wishes from the 10th House of Assembly and wish you a very fruitful deliberation.
We really need to see the gazetted copy of the Electricity Act. The reason is simple too. For the first time, the Electricity Act has provided a robust framework for generation and consumption of power from all sources, including renewable energy. So we have this energy mix inside the Act, which Nigerians need to know. It has inside it renewable energy concept, because we cannot be talking about renewable energy, people don't know what exactly we are talking
about. Let people not just feel that it is to give you just power in a village. No, there are so many other mixes that come in. People can generate power and sell to the grid and go ahead and actually make this thing. And then he also provides fiscal and tax incentives for those who are in renewable energy. And what we need is for the legislature, we need for you to give us back what you think, how efficient it is. Do we need to tweak the law to make it a little better and all that? Because we're going to go into a review of that act, even though it's just signed. The reason why we're going into it, which we can now add other things in, is that a significant section of that act was omitted at the time that it was going to the president for signing. And we need for that to be done. For the resource plan in section 3 and 4, making sure that NEC can regulate you properly, section 80, for making sure that you know how you can get into the network and get something back, section 89, and of course for the one that concerns us as Nigerians, for something that each and every one of us knows. Electricity theft and other related offenses is all there in section 208.
You could see the eagerness in the minds and life of these people in the rural area to welcome light in their community. I was telling somebody I went to Rani in Kano State in the night. Then there was no insecurity, there was no security problem. I mean, I could go to Rani in the night. I'm not sure I can go there now in the night. But we went there at night and we saw the excitement in the village. The children were excited, they were reading outside. They sat down in the village square and they were reading. And the women were also cooking, and they said they never used to do that. I had a good time going around the village that night. And this is just to tell us what we need to do and what Renewable can do in the lives of Nigerians. So if all of us can put our hands together and say, let's go Renewable. 30,000 in the year 2030. I mean, I'm not sure we have up to 13%. From now till 2030, we have 6 years. I don't know how we are going to make that. But if we come up after this discussion with some legislation that will make it possible for us to reach out to every local government area, a quantum of renewable energy every year, we will be able to support what the federal government has come out with, the renewable energy plan. So we need the legislature to please. I'm happy the chairman of Senate Committee on Power is here. I mean, you know the situation. And if we can come up with something for every local government, I'm insisting on that, every local government. Because right now, NDPAC is deploying 100,000 solar systems after the 20,000. The impact, the socio-economic impact was great. But we need everybody to do their 100,000, 20,000, and even come up with mini grids in every community. So I want to welcome all of us to this meeting, and I want to say please and please, let it not just be one of those talk summits. Let it be a summit that will come out with results, that Nigerians will begin to see that the government is very concerned about energy for all. The legislature needs to help the government to achieve its dream of power to all Nigerians.
Our center, we have been advocating for alternative energy from University of Abuja, that people should stay away from fossil fuel utilization so that our environment will remain clean. I am a climatologist, and as a climatologist, what we want is a clean environment, because if you don't protect your environment cannot serve you. We are supposed to protect the environment so that the environment will serve us. And I also want to point out that all the documents you have been reading and talking, you are not making reference to climate change.
The talk here today must recognize the aspect of climate change because that is what is causing problems for us within our environment. This summit should also think about that. For Nigeria, this presents a unique opportunity to create jobs, stimulate growth, and diversify the economy. Investments in renewable energy technologies such as solar home systems, wind, mini wind offer lucrative economic benefits. The World Bank estimates that the Sustainable Development Goals will increase global access and global GDP by 2.5% if we increase our efforts in this area. Now, specifically trying to link fiscal and monetary policy is extremely important for the sector to grow. Policymaker and lawmakers, you know your role is crucial because you set the tone. The reason we are taking this step is to make sure that we start with a solid foundation. I know the executive side has spoken earlier about how the SGF office could help to further drive some of the things that is happening. But I can tell you that there has never been a better time to be in our space in Nigeria. Everywhere we go, everybody wants to be part of this renewable energy transition. So for us, we see the glass half full as opposed to half empty. And events like this will hopefully lead to actions that would allow us to electrify Nigeria, local government by local government.
That's a show today. You'll know your representative with Maria. Join me same time next week as I bring another interesting edition. For missed episodes, you can catch up on our YouTube page on BCV. Thanks for watching. I am Maria Olashende. Goodbye and God bless Nigeria.